Hi everyone, Desmond here, and today I want to talk to you about web performance indicators to care about. Hopefully, you care about the performance of your website. The performance of your site is going to have a huge impact on the visitor experience. And today I want to cover 3 indicators that can really tell you how users are going to be experiencing your site based on performance, and also how you can measure your own sites so that you can get performance indicators and insights on how to improve your site. There are a lot of different measurements that you can use to measure your site's performance, but I want to show you 3 of them that make a big impact on the experience of your visitors. Number 1, we have first contentful paint. This is the time that takes for anything to be painted onto the screen. This could be a loading spinner, this could be a single pixel in the top right corner of your screen. This is just anything being painted onto the screen. Now, the first contentful paint isn't probably going to be what the user came for, but at least it's an indicator that something's happening on your website and that you are processing the user's request. So this is a good indicator to the user that something's happening and that they should expect what they actually came for very soon. We want the first thing to be painted to the screen very quickly. Next up is largest contentful paint. Similar to first contentful paint, but largest contentful paint is the largest text or image to be printed to the screen. And this has nothing to do with file size, megabytes, kilobytes. This is physical screen real estate. So the largest item to be printed out to the screen. And the idea behind this is that the largest item is hopefully what the user came for. These bots and web crawlers that are going through your site, they don't know exactly what the content's supposed to be, but they're assuming that the largest thing printed to your site is going to be what the user came for. So in the case of a blog, it's going to be the text. Hopefully that's taking up the most space. For an e-commerce site, maybe the pictures of the images of the product are taking up the most space. This is the time it takes for the largest physical item to take up space on the screen. And the idea is that this is what the user came for. The last performance indicator that I think you should care about is time to interactive. This is the time it takes for your site to be fully interactive, where all the events are wired up, users can click and interact with the page. You want your largest contentful paint and your time to interactive to be as close as possible, because once the user sees what they came for, you want them to also be able to interact with your page. There's nothing more discouraging than seeing the content, thinking you can interact with the page, but as soon as you click on something, it's unresponsive and nothing happens. This is a real deal breaker in terms of the user experience. So we want our time to interactive to be as close to largest contentful paint as possible. So these are the 3 indicators: first contentful paint, largest contentful paint, and time to interactive. I think that these are 3 important indicators that can give you a good idea of how your site is performing and how your users experience your site. Now, let's jump into our browser and take a look at how we can easily measure and get these scores ourselves. So I'm here in my Chrome browser at developers.sitecore.com. This is the new developer portal that we've created to help you, the developer, find the Sitecore information that you need. This site is built with Next.js using static site generation and hosted on Vercel. So I'm looking forward to some really good scores when it comes to measuring our performance. There's a number of different ways that you can measure the performance of your site, but my preferred way is using the Chrome DevTools. So I'm going to press F12 to open that up. And you see here, now we have our Chrome Developer Tools open, and I'm in the Lighthouse tab already. Across the top are a number of different tabs, and what we're interested in is Lighthouse. It's going to be on the farthest right tab over here. Lighthouse is an open source tool created by Google. It's able to give you performance, best practices, accessibility, and SEO information about your site. It not only gives you the metrics and numbers, it also gives you insights on how to improve your site. So let's generate a report and see what our numbers come back as. So the site's going to flash a little bit, it's going to run different versions of our site, and then it's going to quickly generate our scores. Great, so here are our scores. You can see them now across the top. We've got 100 for performance, 95 for accessibility, 87 for best practices, and a 91 for SEO. These are pretty good scores for our site, and I'm pretty happy with them. But what we're interested in seeing is that first contentful paint. We're getting 0.3 for that. largest contentful paint of 0.6, and a time to interactive of 0.7. So these are really good scores for those 3 performance indicators that I think we should care about. And you can see that our largest contentful paint and time to interactive are very close. Now, if you're running these performance diagnostics on the site that's not using static site generation, you're probably not going to get as great of numbers. But it's important, even if you're scared of running the analysis on your site, it's important to get those numbers, get the performance metrics, so you can see how you can improve and where you can improve. So not only does this tell us our performance metrics, but also gives us insights on how to improve and where we can improve things, not only for performance, but also for our accessibility, our best practices, and SEO. So this is a great tool that can really give you insights into your site and improve it so that you can get better performance and better user experience. If you're not comfortable with or you don't like using the Chrome Dev Tools, you can also visit web.dev/measure, where it uses the same Lighthouse software tool, but you're just using it through a web browser page instead of through the Chrome Dev Tools. But that's how we can measure our site and get the performance numbers that we're interested in. Again, there's so many metrics and so many different numbers that you can get related to performance of your sites. But it really comes down to first contentful paint, largest contentful paint, and time to interactive. I think these 3 metrics can give you great insight without having to dive too deep into all of the metrics that are possible. And using the Lighthouse tool inside of Chrome Dev Tools, you can get the metrics and also get insights on how to improve your site. If you end up using these tools to measure the performance of your site, reach out to me on Twitter and share your results. And if you like this video, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much.